Alrighty then, we got some patch notes. Patch notes and Christmas. It's Christmas every day when you're playing Path of Exile 2, right? Sometimes you get coal. Sometimes you get a lot of coal. But anyways, let's dig into the patch notes, see what changes have been made. They've been live for a little bit, so I've actually had a chance to play with them. So I do have a little bit of feedback on how well this is implemented. But yeah, anyways, let's roll through it. Let's see what we got. Okay, so patch 1.0e. Frick yeah. Okay. General improvements and changes added the capacity to fast travel between checkpoints within an area. You can now select checkpoints, which will bring up your map overlay, allowing you to select other checkpoints you have discovered in the area to travel to them immediately. I have actually been using this, as I'm sure you guys have, but this has been a good addition. I don't use it a lot though. One thing I'm noticing is that I don't use this nearly as much as I thought I would because I don't do as much backtracking. The frustrating thing about the maps for me, yes, the back travel sucks, but the frustrating thing for me is how large the maps are and how freaking slow you are. The initial discovery and transversal process takes forever, and I don't like it. One of the things that I just realized, and I didn't know why, but I had like a minus 4% movement speed. I'm like, no wonder I'm slow. I mean, 4% is not a big deal, but it's still slower than the already slow. And it's because the armor, I don't know if it's all armors, but I'm doing armor energy shield, but armor makes you slower, and nowhere on the armor does it even say. It doesn't even say that it's making, there's nowhere on there that says a negative 3% movement speed. It's freaking annoying. I hate that crap. I hate it when there's like freaking debuffs that are put on you and they don't even tell you about it. But anyways, it's just, it takes forever to get anywhere. It's so annoying. That's one of my, I don't know, that might be my biggest complaint about the new Path of Exile system is it's just, everything takes forever. It's so freaking slow. But the checkpoints help. They do help. Again, I don't use them as much as I was expecting to, but anyways, many more checkpoints. Oh, gotta keep going. Sorry. Many more checkpoints have been added to areas generally at all the entrances and exits to areas, meaning if you find those first, you're able to instantly travel to them if you choose to go back and explore an area. See, and that thing for me, I didn't really have to use that anyways because of the waypoints. I would just go to the next area, hit the waypoint, and then go back. So, I mean, it didn't really affect me much, but I mean, it's nice. Anyways, okay, so next point. Passive point respecking has been made cheaper, especially at higher levels, and it definitely has. It had a relatively aggressive curve. Try really freaking aggressive curve. Getting more expensive with character level. We have flattened the curve so it doesn't exponentially grow as much. For example, this should generally result in an approximately 40 to 50% less gold cost for respecking between the start, middle, and middle of end game progression. Okay. Another thing with this, it's still too expensive. It is still too expensive. I've respec'd probably 5 times. So I like that there is respecking, but I think it's too expensive for early game because gold drops are so tiny. Like you're getting like 5 gold, 10 gold, and then a respec is like 200, 300 gold. And it takes probably, 10 minutes of grind to get 200 gold when you're in early game. So, I mean, early game isn't as punishing for like your mistakes and stuff like that as far as build goes. But honestly, I think they need to make respecking free through like level 20 or like insanely cheap, like much cheaper, because even at 200 to 300 to 400 gold per respec point, that's a lot of money for an early game character. So I don't know. I think that still needs work, or they increase the gold drops, one or the other. Anyways, but it is cheaper. Okay, flattening the curve, blah, okay, general result, 40, 50% less gold, blah, 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 okay. Added a shortcut to open a skill advanced information display by right-clicking on the skill on your skill bar. That's nice. You can now compare equipped flasks when using a gamepad. Added chance shards to the currency exchange. Awesome. I've gotten a few of those, not very many. Added a button to travel to your guild hideout when interacting with waypoints. Endgame and monster balance, a lot of people have been complaining about this. Maps no longer have additional elemental resistance penalties inherently applied at tier 6 and tier 11 or higher maps. It is now consistent across all the endgame at the same values as it was previously at tier 1. That is awesome. Again, it's that unnecessarily taking away people's progress. I hate the fact that they take away your elemental resistances. They give you like a 50% debuff after you've capped resistances. Just make resistances harder to get and scale the damage that enemies do as far as elemental damage as you progress through the game. Just make them do more elemental damage as you go up with their regular damage. Increase the percentage so that way as you're leveling, your resistances need to go up. But when you cap it, it should be capped permanently. I hate this artificial BS of, oh, we're going to take away 50% of your resistances. That's freaking stupid. So stupid because you're taking away progress. It's it. People work, they build it, and then all of a sudden they have to rebuild and redo all their gear because their resistances aren't capped anymore. It's just unnecessary and it sucks. My opinion. But what do I know? I'm brain dead. So it is what it is. Okay, critical strikes for monsters now deal 40% less bonus damage. Huzzah, less one-shots. Supposedly. Chaos damage now scales less aggressively over the end game. I've heard chaos damage is really difficult. I am in the 3rd act on Cruel, so I'm almost at end game. I'm almost done. I am now, I just finished the first area in when you go back in time. So I'm getting close. I'm getting close. Okay. Blah blah blah. Chaos damage. I hate chaos damage. The ground laser and ground lightning abilities used by the Rune Knight in expedition encounters now deal substantially less damage. Again, more nerfs to damage for enemies. The Waystone modifier that adds burning ground to your maps no longer increases in coverage or area with higher tier Waystones. The Siphon Flask Charge modifier on monsters now drains 10 times less flask charges over a second. But I hate the draining stuff. It's so annoying. But yeah, 10 times. That might have been a little overpowered before they make the change. Holy crap. That's a big cut. Disable the volatile crystal modifier to be revived in the future. So that's just a broken thing they took out. The Trail of Fire monster modifier now deals 30% less damage and lasts for 3 seconds rather than 5 seconds. The Trail of Lightning, Trail of Ice. So it's just more nerfs to all the trails. Purple explosives created by the volatile plant modifier on rare monsters now deal significantly less damage. Those freaking purple flowers. Motherfuther purple flower. I hate them. I hate them. Oh my gosh. But it's still fun. Anyways, packs of prowling chimerals in maps now contains less of the prowling chimerals and spawn alongside some zombies. Okay, lowered the baseline monster density of breach encounters. Why would you lower monster density? Monster density is like that's one of the things I want in Breach. I want lots of monsters in Breach. Anyways, primarily by reducing the frequency of the elite monsters appearing. So I don't like that one. You want elite monsters. Like that's what you want. You want the high tier monsters. In Breach, you want monster density. That's one of the most that's one of the big things with Breach. At least one of the things that I always wanted. I always wanted more monsters. Okay, fixed an inconsistency in the different types of packs that could spawn during Breach encounters. You should now see more different types of monsters appearing in the area on an area-to-area basis. So that's good. Volatile spawned by the Volatile Fiends Trial of Chaos modifier now accelerate over time. Okay, that's a good thing too. The Stormcaller runes Trial of Chaos modifier are now smaller, take longer to charge up when standing inside, and give more time to escape once triggered. The runes now also get larger as modifier is upgraded. And I don't like the Ascendancy Trials. I think they're garbage. I didn't like the mechanics that they're using in PoE 1 when they were just kind of like side mechanics. The honor system is garbage, and I really don't like freaking what's it called? The trial thing where you go in layers and it gives you equipment. It's cool to get the equipment stuff, but the modifiers that like you have to get, like it just sucks. I just don't like it. is just annoying to me. I just want to go kill monsters. I don't want to have freaking lasers and crap spawning and shooting me from all over the place in a tight space. Man. Anyways, that's a personal thing. That's a get good bro kind of situation for me. Because yeah, I do suck at this game, but I still love it. But yeah, that's just for me a pet peeve. I just don't like that. Okay. Stormcaller Runes, Trial of Chaos. That's what it's called, the Trials of Chaos. But I don't remember what it was called in PoE 1. It was something different. Improve the hitboxes on a number of abilities using by Blackjaw, the Remnant. They have a lot of hitbox work to do personally, I think. Especially like when you're talking about like slam abilities, when monsters slam, there's so many times when I am outside of the slam, like clearly outside of the visual thing for the slam, and I still take damage. And it's a lot of freaking damage because the dodge doesn't give you any iframes and it doesn't go very far. So if you dodge at the wrong time, like even just by a little bit, you're still getting hit. And it doesn't look like I get hit. Like I dodge and then I feel like I'm way outside of the slam and then it hits and I still get hit by it, even though I don't see myself inside the actual visual ring or whatever area of effect that it shows. So again, maybe it's me, probably just me, but I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Anyways, hitboxes. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, the crossbow variant's a deceptive of the decrepit mercenary monster that dealt fire damage, now deal less damage. This is just a bunch of, sorry, I forgot to change back. There's just a bunch of nerfs to damage. I'm not even, in maps yet, so I can't even imagine what it was like. And here's the thing, like with these changes and stuff, I know there are people out there that are like, gamer ego Andes, where the most important thing in their life is how good they are at video games because they don't have anything else going on in their life, and they say skill issue. And yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a skill issue. The most important thing is fun. It needs to be fun for the people playing. And when things don't feel fair, when they don't feel fun, there's a problem, right? So there's a difference between dying to a mechanic that you're like, oh, I could have done something about that, versus dying to a mechanic where it just feels cheap, right? When something feels cheap, like the getting trapped, like people have been saying, oh, skill issue for getting trapped. Learn to kite. It's like, here's the thing. The game, that doesn't make the game fun, okay? If the game launched and you could dodge through monsters, no one would be sitting there being like, oh my gosh, why can I dodge through why is it possible to dodge through monsters? This is so, L, you shouldn't be able to dodge through monsters. Morons, okay? It's just so stupid. Here's the thing. If the game launched with the ability to dodge through the monsters, would people be complaining about it? No. If the game launched with these changes already made, would people be complaining about it? No. With PoE 2, they want new players. PoE 1, the big issue was the gap. There's such a huge learning curve. There's so much you need to know. And at this point, PoE 2 feels like it's easier for players to learn, but it's extremely punishing for new players. When you have veterans, multiple 1,000-hour veterans of PoE 1 complaining about the difficulty of PoE 2, how do you think a new player is going to feel? I mean, it's fun and, there's a lot of people that are enjoying it, like new players and all. I think they're doing a good job of retaining new players, but there are a lot of people quitting because of the insane levels of difficulty that feel unnecessary, that don't feel like, oh, skill issue, bro, like the dodging through monsters thing. Or for me, the stupid hitboxes with the slams, or like running into walls of progression and not being able to respec because of how freaking expensive it is. Like, these are unnecessary stopping areas that people quit. And if you like this game, why do you want people to quit? You need this game to be healthy. If GGG is going to support this for years to come, like PoE 1, it needs to be good. It needs to retain players. So if you have an issue with retaining players, then I'm sorry, but you're wrong. What needs to be done is what's best for the most number of people as far as making it fun. If you want something that's incredibly difficult, there are things you can do by yourself to make things difficult by doing things like, oh, maybe I'm gonna make my own personal cap 50% for resistances. There's lots of ways that people do artificial difficulty spikes in their own games, Nuzlocks on freaking Pokemon and stuff like that. But the point is, the game needs to be good for the most amount of people so it can be healthy and have a good player base and be around for a long time. Stop saying skill issue, because you're a freaking ego gaming loser when you say that, and you're hurting the game. Okay? If it's a skill issue, yeah, there are skill issues. People get good at games. But when it's a bad mechanic, it's a bad mechanic and it needs to be fixed. Okay? Everyone's entitled to their opinion, right? I get that. I know I just kind of crapped all over a few of you, but if it's not fun, it's not fun, right? We want the game to be fun. And a lot of these things that they're changing it because it was not fun. If a professional gamer who's got thousands of hours into PoE hates it and says that this is a problem, then it's a problem. Imagine a new gamer who's never played Path of Exile. How do they feel? They give up. That's what they do. They give up. And the point of this game is to give a fresh start for new players, to be new player friendly. And a lot of this game is not new player friendly. I'm sorry. You need a lot of knowledge to get past a lot of these difficulty spikes if you don't do your build right, and then they punish you for making a wrong choice in build by having it freaking expensive. That's bad. That's just bad gameplay. Bad game design. Rant over. for now. Okay. I don't even remember where we were. Okay. Honor damage scaled down based on distance to enemies. Huzzah, that's great for melee players. Up to 35% less honor damage. I hate honor damage to begin with. Okay, tapering off as you get further away from the monsters. So it goes up to full damage once you're farther away from monsters for ranged people, okay? Bug where damage over time was dealing 3 times as much damage to honor. Yep, that sucks. So they fixed that in the Trial of Sekimas and fixed the bug where honor resistance was only applying to 2/3 of the damage taken. So L honor damage, they're fixing that. That's a good thing. Skitter golems no longer use basic attacks and instead just blow up. Explode is their attacks and largely unavoidable when in melee range. Yep. Yeah, their attacks are... And I have an issue with that. There's a lot of monsters that their attacks are difficult to avoid because of how freaking fast they are and how freaking slow you are. And the dodge. I have issues with the dodge, but I'm glad it's there. It's better than nothing. Serpent Clan, burrow and ambush attacks now have improved visual telegraphing, thank you, and cannot be used from as far away. That's great. One of the things is off-screening. If you get off-screened, that's a bad thing. I don't know if this attack off-screens people, but off-screening sucks. Volcanoes created by Rattlecage's Fisher Slam now last half the duration. Okay, actually, that's a good thing. Rattlecage is from the Trial of the Sekimas, I believe, and he has little volcanoes that just never go away. That was freaking annoying. I would stay in one area and I was strategically I was strategically using each area to try and get him to use his volcano thing, and then I'd run around again, and then I'd go back and try and keep all the volcanoes in one area. It actually worked out pretty well, but yeah, they were there way too long. Added keyword hover over the for the honor mechanic in the Trial of Sekimas. Okay, cool. Skill balancing, skill issue, guys. That's the balance. Get good, son. That's your balance. Rolling Slam, second slam now deals 50% more damage to heavy stun enemies. Okay, that's cool. W melee. Ice Shot Shard, secondary, now gains additional projectiles as it levels up. Okay, W Ice Shot. Targets within 90-degree cone. Okay, Ice Shot Shards now travel further based off base 200. Okay, from 100, so they doubled the distance. Tested and iterated. So basically they're saying, hey, we're doing this, but don't get married to it. Ice Shot and arrow projectiles now are smaller and are the same size as other arrows. Okay, that's kind of a nerf. Electrocuting arrows base duration to 25 seconds from 12, doubling quality bonus also. That's good. Barrage now has 25% less damage on barrage attacks from 60% less at level 1. Same scaling per level. Okay, so nerfed on that. Barrage has +2 repeat base. Okay, +1. Okay, so buff on that. Shock chain Arrows. I've never done that. I don't have a ranger, so I have no idea. But shockwaves now deal 100% more damage. That's a W. Sniper's mark cooldown reduced from 6 seconds to 2 seconds at all levels. Excellent. Cooldowns blow. Everyone hates cooldowns. I hate cooldowns. That's why I never use the freaking the things that have cooldowns that like give extra damage or whatever effectiveness, but it gives you like a 10-second cooldown. Like, screw that. No, I hate cooldowns. At level 1, approximately 1.5 seconds at level 20. Okay, cool. Stormcaller arrow bolts now gain additional impact radius as it levels. Vine arrow damage over time has been adjusted. It is now slightly higher at low levels and substantially lower at higher levels. The intention of this ability was that you poison it to spread poison as opposed to the vine itself dealing immense amounts of damage. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so more just balanced stuff. Tornado shot, damage over time, magnetic salvo. This is pretty long, guys. Let me see if there's anything else in here that's like super important. So I'm actually just going to scan this real quick and see if there's anything else that's really important. Okay, this one's actually pretty interesting. Skeleton Arsonist spirit costs match Frost and Ice Mages from level 5 onward, making them more expensive while keeping their costs in early game the same. See, I don't really like that. Because spirit is... There's not a lot you can do to increase your spirit. There are some things, but at least I'm almost at endgame and I'm at like 190 spirit. And there are very few, and that's with me trying to build for spirit with like gear and stuff, like with my like currency, like crafting and craft. So yeah, I don't like that. I don't think there's enough spirit in the game as it is right now, personally. All right, this is actually really important. I don't know about you guys, but have you ever found a belt that had more than one charm slot? Because I haven't. I'm sitting there looking at these freaking slots. I'm like, there's supposed to be 3. Why is there only 1? I'm almost at endgame and I've never had more than 1 charm slot. I've never even found a belt because I generally keep my belts. I try to keep them unless they're just straight garbage. But I've looked at every single belt I've had and not a single one of them had more than 1 charm slot. I don't know why this isn't an implicit. It should be an implicit in the belt that just after a certain level, it goes from 1 to 2 to 3. It just opens up and should be available. Like by time you're at the end of, Act 3 Cruel, you should have level, 3 slot charm belts. That's just the way it should be. Personally, I don't get why they haven't done that, but it should be an implicit. It should just be part of the belt. But anyways, charm modifiers and belts have been made substantially more common and now appear at much lower levels. I haven't seen it yet. Not since his patch came out. I still haven't seen it. The symbolism modifier now appears from level 23 onwards, and the of inscription modifier now appears from level 64. So symbolism is, I believe, the 2nd charm slot, and then inscription of inscription is the 3rd charm slot, or it's, you need both of those in order to get both charm slots, to have all 3. So appear from level 64 onwards. I haven't seen any. Since this patch came out, I've put in probably 15 hours. Bunch of belts. No modifiers. Where are they? You say they're more common, but 100% increase from a 1% drop is only 2%. So you could have increased it by 100%. It depends on what the original drop rate was, but I'm still not seeing it. Where is it, GGG? I see the blocked slots. I want to see them open the slots. Anyways, continuing. Okay, maybe not continuing. That was kind of the gist of it. There's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of stuff in here. If you want like extreme details, go through. I honestly, as I was going through it, I was just like, there's just so much in here, guys. There's so much stuff that I felt like just reading the rest wasn't gonna be entertaining or good for anyone. If you want to know the differences, there's a lot of skill balance changes, like the actual skills you get. So a bunch of balance changes for that, and then support gem balances. So, again, here's the thing. It's buffs to players and nerfs to the bad guys, mobs. Okay, I lost the word for a second there, but that's kind of the gist of it. The gist of it is, hey, we hear you. It's hard. It's not fair, and it's not. It's making it unfun. So we are giving you more power. We are taking away power from the mobs, and that's the thing, is people want to feel powerful. And one of the things that I have, and I'll probably put together, you know, after a little while, I wanted to give GGG some time to put together their changes, like give it about a month before I gave my official impressions. But so far, my issue has been, I feel good. Like I get a specific item or some gear, make some gear changes, and then the build feels great, right? And I continue moving forward, and I don't get any power progression. There's just nothing for like an entire act. I don't get a single new piece of gear that I want. I get hardly any currency. Even with the currency buffs that they've had, it's not enough. Like for maybe an end game, you get a lot more because people spec for rarity in their drops, but I don't get a lot of rarity gear. I have a few pieces, and I have had a few pieces, but I don't see a lot, right? So increased rarity isn't really helping me because I don't have increased rarity for any of my stuff. And from what I understand, that makes a big difference. I just got a rarity charm, which activates and gives like 20% increased rarity or something like that when you kill a rare monster. But the thing is, they buff the currency and it's noticeable, but it's not enough that when you hit a wall, let you feel like you can craft something. Because one of the issues that I've always had is in the crafting for PoE 2, you've got tiers for your modifiers, your prefixes and suffixes. They roll in like tier 1 through whatever. Tier 1 is the worst, and then each prefix or suffix has a different maximum tier. Like they don't tell you what the top possible tier is for the item level. Like it should say tier 1/3. You know what I mean? Tier 1 of 3. So that way you know what the maximum tier you can roll is. So you know if you got a godly drop for that item, especially for new players, you know? And then like once you get to the higher levels, it helps there too, because if the maximum tier for a max level item is tier 7 for one modifier and then tier 12 for another modifier, there is no consistency. No consistency. So when you're crafting, you don't know, like, and you know if the stats are good, you're like, oh, this is a good stat, but you don't know if you just got a max roll on a max tier. You know what I mean? So they need to do more to encourage crafting and make crafting more available in early game. You need more regals and you need more exalts. A heck of a lot more exalts. Personally, in my opinion, in early game, some people are like, oh, that's ridiculous. But no, here's the thing, okay? Here's the thing. It might, I see that it could break some things, like in endgame, maybe. I don't know, at that point you have so many, I've seen people that have tons of exalts in endgame because they built for rarity and stuff. But anyways, the point is, when you run into a wall, when you hit a wall where difficulty spikes, right? And you're looking at your build and you're like, I've been actively looking for better gear and found nothing over the entire last act. Nothing that's better than what I currently have, okay? I have 4 exalts. I've got 3 regals, and I've got freaking a bunch of the other freaking transmutation and what's the name of the other one? Whatever, the 2 magic ones, right? And a crap ton of those. So I can make a ton of magic items and reroll, but I don't have a lot of gold, so I can't just go buy stuff. When I roll it and it gives me crap modifiers, I just have to disenchant it and take my little shard, and that's, you know, and just, it sucks because the gold's gone. And I already don't have a ton of gold, and I respect, so most of my gold is gone now, and I've got like 5,000 gold left to buy 2 items. I can buy 2 items from a vendor, and, you know, then if they don't have any modifiers, I can modify them and craft with my 5 exalts and my 5 regals. You know what I mean? And there's no scouring orb. So if you don't get the modifiers you want, the item is bricked. So then you go invest another 1, 2, 3, 4,000 gold in another item. But it's just, the path to progression is not clear when you hit a wall. You can respec, or you could get more gear, because you can't really grind for more levels, because if you go to a lower level area, they take away all your experience gain. You can't grind for levels in this game. So if you're level 55 and you're in a level 55 area and you're not making any progress, your power sucks. You can do skill gems. You can redo your build as far as like looking at what skills you're using and find new ways to do that. You can get new gear, but leveling isn't really an option, because then you go to a previous area and it'll take like freaking half an hour to an hour to get one level. It's not fun. And for people who don't know the game, I only had like 300, 400 hours. Maybe it might have been a little more than that. Somewhere around the 500 hour range in PoE 1. So I don't have nearly as much knowledge about the crafting and stuff like that from that game. But think about a new player who doesn't understand any of this. They hit a wall and they're like, what do I do now? Like, this is hard. What do I do? And it's like, well, I only have 5 exalts, so I don't want to use those. Like the scarcity mindset comes in, because I've been grinding for freaking 3 acts and I only have these 7 exalts and these 5 regals. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, if they want people to learn crafting, they need to teach it early in the game. And if they want people to use crafting, they need to give more currency. The currency buff has been big, I will say that, but there needs to be more currency. The path to progression needs to be more clear. It needs to be less punishing and easier for people to get better gear and respec and all that stuff. They just need to make power progression a more smoother, make it a smoother process. I'm rambling again, but anyways, guys, that's just how I feel about it. Let me know what you think. Look down in the comments. Drop a like. Drop a subscribe. This is a new channel. Dang it! If you like the content, you want more, then subscribe. It does help me. Right now, I think I've got like 8 subscribers on my 3 videos, but it's fun. I like the comments. I love your comments. I like engaging with you guys, even if it's a little back and forth. I like it a lot. So anyways, leave a like, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. All right, bye.